as long as we make the show. We can be the best, or we can be the worst. We can be the best like you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and some. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shades. Letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, outside, winning to die, cross her up on the cushion,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are brightened up a little bit more today. And it looks like we fixed the issues. It looks like it's the exposure that it wants to play with. Look at that. That's so ridiculous. But we are in the Barbagallo Australian Sprint Car Nationals t-shirt we got from the Perth Motorplex. 30,000 to win. Australian dollars, I know it's only 19,000 or whatever in American. Now, we are here today. We may be taking some call-ins. I think we are going to take some call-ins today, actually. Just for the simple fact that we don't have video out already. We don't have too many things published currently on what people or what racing happened that we're here to talk about, what things we are here to, describe. Technically, we can describe it, I guess, as far as what happened tonight. What happened tonight, at the end of the day, I think, this is unfortunate. I will give the Outlaws a little plus in that category, I guess. We will give the plus category to the Outlaws in updating their Facebook page instantly. Usually Brian Walker's really good at that, but there's nothing on there. Still on the Facebook page is the lineup for the High Limit Series. But anyone paying attention, we already saw the lineup. We already know what happens from here. Of course, Corey Day picked up the win, started out of the 7th slot. I thought one of the big movers that they did keep an eye out on, but not all the way, was Justin Peck. Peck coming up through the field, was running 6th there, battling with Larson. And let's give credit where credit's due. How about that? Let's start right off the damn get-go and start talking about Kyle Larson, like so many of you people love me doing. Because you still are just, we heard it from the guy rolling the damn dice. He's sitting there, I'm a really big Kyle Larson fan, but I still like cheering on the smaller teams. Smaller teams? Smaller teams? What are we talking about? Are you kidding me? There's smaller teams than Kyle, or does he mean smaller banking accounts? Which one is he trying to say there? I feel like he means banking accounts, because there aren't smaller teams than Kyle Larson, buddy. And they're out there whooping his ass as they were tonight. But back to credit where credit is due. That's where we're trying to go here. We're trying to be honest with the situation. Kyle Larson struggled to start, fell back, and then came up through the damn field. I was worried there. I was worried. I was so happy I was going to be able to come on here and say, look, he's running mid-pack. Can't do it anymore. Can't keep up. We just, this is what I was trying to say the other year when he dominated. The difference between him doing it 1 year and Kinzer doing it for 20 is it's really, really hard to stay out front, be that rabbit year after year, and everybody get to see and follow you and get faster, and you consistently get faster and faster and stay ahead over a 20-year time period. That's what makes long-term dominations, such as a Kinzer, or any of those guys, the Swindle Big Three, Swindle, Wolfgang, the Donnie shots, that's what makes those eras very, very special. Because it ain't like you just get really fast at one point and you just stay at that fast and you just stay out front. No, those dogs will come and eat you. And I do think, especially in the sprint car world, in the late model world's handled them from day one, but in the sprint car world, they've done a lot of catching up with Kyle. And I know he was still competitive last year, and he still can win any big event there is. But I think we've seen it this year, especially. The other boys have caught up now, and they're putting it to Kyle. Now, Kyle Larson tonight was amazing. It was amazing to watch Kyle struggle, face adversity, and come back and still run well. Although I think I would love to see a finish in order here on their Facebook. Well, we got it 5 minutes ago. Sorry. We got updates 12 minutes ago. I don't know why. Why did it not load for me? Y'all saw me. I loaded the page. But regardless, I do want to point this out. Here's the actual victory lane photo. This was the coolest thing of this whole entire scenario. Still not seeing, let's see. Do we got a full, here's the full finish. Larson got 6 behind Justin Peck, who I thought was the most impressive driver of the night, personally. That's what I was saying there before we got sidetracked. They did update all their stuff. I don't know why. Everybody just saw me go to this page and load it. I don't know why it wasn't up to date. But, so they got onto it. So kudos back to Brian Walker and the Walkipedia all over, anyway. I ain't going to make insults. I'm not going to make insults right now. I want to really do it, but I'm not. So Larson came home in 6th after facing, like I said, I'm complimenting him here, at true adversity, falling back throughout the field, coming back through it. That was really impressive. Rico was coming up there and showing some speed. Rico, Kyle, Brad Sweet, they right there, 6, 7, and 8. I even had somebody message me. I think those 3 are holding back to make the series look good. I don't know if that's the case. I just think that the dogs have got a little bit faster over the years. I really don't understand the Brad Sweet situation. Maybe, some of the crew members that aren't there anymore, was that important? I'm not sure. But I really don't understand or think. I mean, honestly, the Operation Northwoods of me wants to say they're playing the game. But Corey Day, Tyler Courtney, Parker Price Miller, Justin Peck, these are high-level sprint car drivers who just ain't been on national tours. They've been picking and choosing or all-starring it or coming up young like Corey Day or Brent Marks, just like I said, picking and choosing. Parker Price Miller's always had strides of greatness. Justin Peck's always been a contender for a national win all the time. I mean, he almost did it in his family car all those years ago before the clique came after him. But these are some really good drivers. Now, the big surprise of the night, I would say, was Casey Kane, especially on a more technical track. I know Casey Kane runs well on like Texas Motor Speedway. They pointed that out. He runs well on these bigger tracks to where, at least to me, it seems like he runs well on bigger tracks where the car kind of does the work, and he's always in great equipment. Really impressive to me for him to outdrive some of the guys he did tonight, because this is a driver's racetrack. This Red Dirt Raceway was just a driver's racetrack. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But once again, Casey Kane, A-Main came. You see the start column. It says 2. The finish column came 9. So, I mean, the drivers came to the front. But he was probably the most impressive driver of the night, in my opinion. I did expect a little bit more for Brady Bacon, but I guess he just had bad luck in the main event. Cole Macedo finally made it onto the racetrack. That was interesting to see him play a factor there early in the race. I don't really know what happened to Anthony Macri here, falling all the way back to 18th. Interesting kind of looking at the final results here. Jacob Allen from 25th to 13th. A lot of people, even me, I was pretty close to putting a post out, saying, Jacob Allen's about to make some moves. 25th, and the track was right around the bottom. Anytime we see these tracks where it's right around the bottom hugging tractor tires, it seems like Jacob Allen is just in another division of a race car out there. It doesn't matter if it's the Outlaws, High Limit, anywhere. It just seems like he's on another level. But he didn't really make the Ford drive as much. Obviously, it's a good finish, 25th to 13th, but I felt like Justin Peck had a little bit more of a drive through the field, rolling the bottom, as we saw him doing. But Peck can also get up there on the top and sling her a little bit harder, better, I think, than Jacob Allen. I consider Justin Peck kind of that wild child up on the top side. I said at the beginning of the year, or when the rosters were originally released, I felt like Justin Peck was going to be like the Sheldon of the High Limit series, because he's kind of that wild, out of control kind of driving style that people like, and that's why he's a fan favorite most of the time. But a real good bounce back for him once again. And then Corey Day picking up the win is a big deal, because he was the first, this dice roll This dice roll that this Durst dice roll that they've been trying to get to happen, to work, finally paid off in some sort of way over a year later, or is this just about a year later from the inaugural race? So obviously, I don't know if you've been paying attention. They've been rolling dice. First, it was who's going to invert to get extra money. Then it was like, we'll throw the dice for fun. Then somebody else will throw it and they'll pick this guy. This year, a fan rolls the dice. If he rolls the dice, say like tonight it was a 7. The person who starts 7th, if he wins the race, both the fan and the driver will split $7,000. So Andrew Howard, won $3,500 tonight just by being a fan in the grandstands. Now, I don't know how they're picking the driver. I'm sure there's a lot of explanational reasons or ways that they're picking these drivers, or picking the fan. But that's really cool to have Corey Day and the way he did it, to drive through the field. It was very impressive what Corey Day's doing. You know, I heard Jeremy Elliott on his little 90s at 9 show on his channel. He was talking about Corey Day is just that dang good, and he was saying how great he was and this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting here, and this was after the RPM win, and I'm sitting here like, are you really jumping on this Corey Day bandwagon that dang fast, man? I mean, where's he been all year? He wins one race, and then now all of a sudden he's the man. He's taking over. Now I know hey, don't sit here and say I'm hating on Corey Day when I say that. I'm saying based on this year. I mean, if I was to say that about Rico or something after he wins a race, you know, maybe he's got a pedigree, but I mean, he ain't been up to speed this year. I ain't seen Corey Day light the world on fire, but he obviously does have the capabilities. I believe that for sure. I watched it happen last year. I watched it come up through the California ranks and do some amazing things. So I wasn't necessarily surprised by what Jeremy had said, because this has kind of been always the notion. It's just to start this year, I didn't really see that kind of speed out of Day on a consistent basis. He did win at RPM. He did win tonight, and that's making it look like, well, maybe he is the man to take over the series. But once again, California driving styles, these are short tracks, these are down there in the South. But those California guys on quarter miles, especially somebody like a Corey Day, who's an elite talent already in a 410 sprint car, picked up his first World Outlaw victory at the Gold Cup at Chico. It's a quarter mile if you didn't know it. It is surprising and not surprising, but when I watch this field of cars, and I know that Larson's in the field, and I know that Brad Sweet and Brett Marks and Tyler Courtney is in the field, I still sometimes feel like I am watching a all-star race. I feel like it's that. When I see Casey Kane on a driver's racetrack starting outside front row, I feel like it's an all-star race still. But then you have guys like Corey Day do what he did tonight, which is just, he looked like an outlaw driver in a all-star field. That's what it looked like to me. And I don't know what the hell's going on with Sweet, Larson, and Rico. It just doesn't look the same. And obviously, Brett Marks, I don't know if the road life is for him or what's going on there. Obviously, they're still running strong. Brett Marks is consistent. He's running good. But once again, I just feel like I'm watching an all-star race with a few other guys, and nobody's really sticking out like a dominator, except Corey Day. Corey Day starting to show that strength that we all projected him to have. And it's looking like he could be the guy to start stringing off wins and potentially, you know, I don't know what the points are looking like after this, but, you know, if you just keep winning and performing like he does, you'll eventually get past Courtney, although Courtney's going to be very consistent. He's a good driver. Brett Marks is going to be very consistent. He's a good driver. But you almost feel like this string here recently, these last two races, it looks like when Corey Day starts figuring the track out, he's just another level to those other guys out there. It's almost like that outlaw level has showed up into the field. So it's very, very possible that Corey Day is the guy to beat here very soon. We got to see it transition to bigger events, bigger tracks, but that's where I would almost change the subject just a little bit. You know, because the schedule that they have here with the high limit sprint car series is not necessarily a outlaw situation. Now, this Red Dirt Raceway that we saw this event on was a really good event because here's what I'm just going to say. I'm going to say this Red Dirt Raceway event was really good, and we're seeing the action that we're seeing. I mean, the heat races were just amazing. The dash was even exciting. The B main was spectacular there with the ending with Jacob Allen and everybody. Kerry Matson going at it. Brendan Crouch, what a drive by him, by the way. Brendan Crouch jumped off the screen there chasing down Kerry Matson and doing what he did. But at the same time, the one big positive to this high limit deal, and I think potentially these more action-packed races, is going to tracks and scenarios that 410 racing ain't really got to go. You know, the only damn reason, I'm going to say this, I think this was the case, the only damn reason that Red Dirt Raceway had a race back when it did was because of COVID. You know? That's why All-Stars was down there playing around. Even this Ardmore race that's coming up, or I believe it's coming up. I don't see it on the schedule over here, but I believe it's added on there. I thought they said Southern Oklahoma Speedway, but I may be wrong. I believe that's the TBD date. That's going to be a Southern Oklahoma Speedway race. Maybe this schedule needs some updating. When did it get posted? Why is it posted to the top of the page if it really doesn't matter? But Southern Oklahoma, I know for a fact that Ardmore, it was a product of the COVID year as well. So you got a situation here where, you know, high limits going to different tracks and different scenarios that 410 racing ain't really been in a while. And I think something that they have playing on their side is that exactly. You know, Red Dirt Raceway, RPM Speedway was a great racetrack. There's a lot of great racetracks out there that we ain't really seen national attention. Let's just say that, national attention in 410 racing at all. We may have had a 410 race there. You know, RPM apparently had a 410 race. Did any of y'all hear about that race at all ever before? No. So there hasn't been a lot of national eyes on some of these racetracks that are really badass. And who's responsible for that? Who's been the big guy, the big player, who's basically, and this is, I was talking about this about 3 or 4 years ago, you know, before all this high limit stuff even started happening. You know, it was kind of hard to find a quarter-mile racetrack on a World of Outlaws schedule. It's kind of hard. You just Tri-State, Jacksonville, River Cities. You know, you kind of had to go out of your way. I remember at 1 year, I was like, dang, if I want to see a quarter-mile outlaw race, I got to circle the date. You know, Silver Dollar, you know, there wasn't too many. Quarter-mile, Skagit maybe, but Skagit's kind of a third. You know, I mean, so it's like these little short bull ring style tracks didn't really ever get national eyes on them. And with high limit and how they're doing things now, it's starting to spurt out into those other racetracks and get that national attention that these tracks haven't ever had. Except like Red Dirt Raceway was a track discovered because of COVID. I believe that's what happened. I believe it's 2020. I believe that was because of the COVID situation. So, I mean, this is a problem. Do we blame the Outlaws? Do we blame the Outlaws to, in my jokingly opinion, creating little cliques of car own or track owners and regional promoters and this group and that group and only allotting these dates to certain tracks? And kind of, if you look at the Outlaw schedule, it's somewhat been the same. It definitely was prior to this whole year. It was prior to this year. It was kind of mixed it up a little bit. But really, it was the same old kind of just string of tracks and in my jokingly opinion, once again, buddy system cliques of owners that everybody's going to make money and we'll just keep doing the same old, same old. So that's the only positive to me with this high limit series is now you're going to be able to see more national attention on these shorter racetracks that are putting on shows. I mean, this race at Red Dirt Raceway was just unbelievable. I mean, they should, I know that they only put highlights up of the A mains most of the time, but we should really, there should be highlights put up of the heat races, the dash, at least the end of the B main. I mean, there should be highlights put up of all, because this was just phenomenal racing. This was real racing. This was great racing. And I think we're going to potentially see a lot more of that. Let's see if we can get the schedule to look decent. You know, this is the problem. The schedule's all messed up. But I think you're gonna be seeing a lot of that come this year. Like I said, I believe Ardmore's this week. Then you got Salina. That'll be very entertaining, very fast. 81 Speedway, Lakeside, which the Lakeside events tando with this event tonight. I believe there's like a 3-race, 10,000 to win kind of points championship, mini series championship, I believe, with Shane Stewart and his promotional group. Then you got 34 Raceway, Tri-City, Kokomo, Outlaw. That's a very bull ringer racetrack up there in New York. They kind of do like a New York PA swing for the whole month of May. You got June, you come back, you're in Michigan at Butler. You got Davenport. Who has not circled Davenport on a Tuesday, June 4th? Who has, and this is why I struggle with saying, okay, I'll come to PA, guys. Okay, I'll come here. And not only just because of my car issues, but I'm just saying, I was having this debate with people. I'm like, there's a lot of racing action going to be happening at some great racing facilities between High Limit and World of Outlaws going back and forth here in the Midwest. That June 4th date at Davenport is potentially going to be another Red Dirt Raceway style of a scenario race event, because that racetrack's put on great damn racing no matter what's been on it. Late models, midgets, modifieds, IMCA stock cars, you name it. That's one of the best racetracks in the country. And we're going to get to see 410 racing there because of High Limit, because of this expansion that they're having to go to these tracks that aren't outlaw controlled or whatever. We all saw that kind of the politics of the sport. We saw the politics play there. So they're having to pick establishments, facilities that don't rock with the other side of the boat. You know, it's almost like Democrats and Republicans here, but just not as bad. But that Davenport date, June 4th, is going to be freaking unreal. Obviously, Kokomo is going to be crazy. You know, 34 Raceway, we'll see. That track's always usually a good race. You got the Port Royal dates there, and it's Saturday, Sunday. I mean, once again, I believe that the schedule's been updated. You got Lucas Oil with their 410. Portsmouth has always been a really good race. Kind of some traditional all-star stops there with Portsmouth, Eldora, Lernerville. Obviously, Lernerville going to be a big race. And that's just the first stop to Lernerville. That's not the Silver Cup-ish 50,000 to win race. They're going to Lernerville twice there. Then, of course, that West Coast swing that the High Limit has, with Skagit and with Placerville and Kings and all this stuff. I'm kind of upset Merced didn't get on the schedule. I think Merced's one of the best action-packed racing facilities in California happening right now. I'm kind of, what can't y'all squeeze that in there? But that's a very packed schedule on the West Coast and then in the year like they are. But this whole, April where we are now, even over this past weekend, all the way up until, let's just say, Portsmouth, when they start doing Eldora and Lernerville, and then they go West Coast, but they take weeks off for, once again, there's a break in the schedule for the High Bank Nationals. There's a break in the schedule for the Knoxville Nationals. There's a break in the schedule for the Kings Royal, these big, high-profile World of Outlaw events. So that's why it skips along so easily and fast here. But we got some races in here that are going to be very interesting coming up. Even Utica Road. I've actually, like the Outlaw Speedway date. That's going to be, it's a traditional all-star race. I've raced on that track in a modified. Very intimidating. 3 and 4's got like a 40-foot drop. And, when they go green, it's dusty pretty bad. It's pretty bad dusty. And you may go off the side of it and not know what's going to happen next. But regardless, Utica Rome, nice little track, going to be entertaining. Fonda, that's a must-see event almost. Fonda's an amazing facility up there in New York. Grandview. And then I still think this June swing is the June schedule here for High Limit. And then this is obviously Midwest. You can also mix in the Huset's High Banks National. Huset's High Banks Nationals. June, for a 410 sprint car fan, should be in the Midwest. There's no reason to even leave. There really isn't. I mean, between these Davenport races, the I-70 race, which I believe that's the Rudine event now, the Eagle race, the Lake Ozark race, the Huset's High Bank Nationals, and then even the Lucas Oil date to end the month. And I ain't even looking at the Outlaw schedule. I'm sure there's some interesting dates mixed in here as well. But I really do like the fact that High Limit is spurting out into these other facilities that deserve, sprint car events. Like I said, that Davenport race on June 4th is going to be just unbelievably amazing. Unbelievably amazing. But we'll see, because of what's happening here, because of these races that we're seeing, I do think going forward, the Outlaws is going to have to eventually combat with some more bullring style action-packed races of their own. They tried with KSP, Kennedale Speedway Park. I do think that's still a racetrack that could put on a hell of a race. Big O Speedway that rained out for the Outlaws, another racetrack that could put on a hell of a race. Obviously, they hit it out of the park at Cotton Bowl that had a really good showing. I think one of the biggest wins so far for high limit racing in this whole entire season outside tonight's race was the Texas Motor Speedway date, to have a track that didn't rubber down and they had a big crowd because that's their season finale there on October 11th and 12th. So there's going to be a lot of things move based on what we're seeing here. A lot of things move based on how these races actually race, because as much as, RPM suffered for a crowd, obviously Red Dirt Raceway tonight hit it out of the park. But why did they hit it out of the park? Because the race sold. The race that everybody can't forget between Aaron Reitzel and Kyle Larson made this event that much bigger. And that first time when Aaron Reitzel and Kyle Larson was there was some people, but COVID and all this other stuff people were combating. But once it came back, it was on because of how great that race was. Hopefully people appreciated the race at RPM. So when RPM has another race, it's a must-see event. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I was just getting upset the other day because you got 7.6 million people within an hour and you can't get 2,000, because I think sometimes this sport thinks it's bigger than it actually is. You're actually very small. You're in a weird way, we are nobodies. Even me. I mean, come on. Let's just be honest with it. As big as you think you are in this little bubble, we got to somehow find a way to bust out of it. I do think when you could show new people the racing action we just had at RPM or at Red Dirt Raceway, that is one way to get it out there. But regardless, that's what I think. We just rambled on for another 10 minutes straight without even taking a breath, it feels like. Let's see what the people in the comment section think. Do we want to start doing call-ins? Ooh, could we do call-ins? We were going to have Dwayne on here, but he did not respond, still has not responded to the text. He probably got busy, tied up into something, but that's fine. Dwayne's a busy guy. Let's see some of the comments in the comment section. Does High Limit have advertisement personal? I don't know what that means technically. Rico ran Larson up and Larson gave it back. I did see Larson gave it back to Rico, and it'll be interesting to see how that develops, to be honest with you. I know that Rico and Larson have friendly history. I've heard of some not so friendly history. I don't know how long moves like that on the racetrack are going to float, though. I'm ready to see a couple weeks to go by and see these guys get going full speed. This is very true. The one stupid thing that I did saw that I do want to bitch about, and when I heard it, I couldn't believe that it was being said. Let me clarify before I say something about this. Keep on the comments coming onto the screen. Now, we all was just talking about how, or at least I was excited, how Brandon Shepherd is going to be running the damn Ween World of Outlaws sprint car. I was excited about this. Okay? And when they made that announcement that on May 1st, a Wednesday night show, one of the small, rare Wednesday night shows in Jacksonville, Illinois, at the Jacksonville Speedway, multi-time late model champion superstar Brandon Shepherd's going to be driving a 410 wing sprint car against the best of the best World of Outlaws. The date stuck in my head. May 1st, Jacksonville. And then I heard what I heard tonight. So this is the schedule on the World of Outlaw website. Obviously, the orange is their late model series. The blue is the sprint car series. And it is confirmed May 1st, Wednesday, World of Outlaws Hy-Vee Perks 40. Jacksonville Speedway, Jacksonville, Illinois. This is confirmed date. It's on your screen. Brandon Shepherd will be going up against the World of Outlaws in a must-see duel between himself and a 900 horsepower rocket ship strapped below his legs. Now, the only problem, the only thing that's going to destroy this moment in history are these guys. Because when I heard him say it, I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe what they said. And when I heard them say the date, I literally got very upset. I got extremely upset. Now, can everyone please read for me? Somehow, some way, that these sumbitches have a Wednesday, May 1st date at 81 Speedway. Please, tell me I don't see this. Look on your phones or your screens. Tell me that doesn't say Wednesday, May 1st. Does it say Wednesday, May 1st? Does it say Wednesday, May 1st, you son of a bitches? 20,000, 81 Speedway. No wonder when Rico won at 81 Speedway, High Limit was promoting Rico's victory, or I would assume Brian Walker is promoting Rico's victory, come back to the 81 Speedway May 1st, when the poor little guys known as the World of Outlaws is going to have their one of very few. They don't got 10 scheduled. They don't got a midweek series. They have their one little bitty poor me Wednesday show at Jacksonville Speedway with Brandon Shepard jumping in a sprint car. All this allure and angst and anticipation. And you some bitches are going to be at 81 Speedway and used freaking Rico's victory against the Outlaws at 81 Speedway to promote a midweek show on the same damn date as the World of Outlaws. Your only real visual subscription streaming draw to these midweek races, you son of a bitches, was that you weren't going to be racing when the World of Outlaws were racing, so everybody just had to watch Flow. All these other Fridays, Saturdays, and all this shit, you're going to be competing against the World of Outlaws depending on when the schedules are. People are going to be flipping back from Flow to Dirt Vision, and that's going to lose you some eyes at some point. Some people who are in this debate of if I like World of Outlaws or I like High Limit, they're going to have to pick. And if they like one side or the other, they're going to say, screw them guys. Guy I'm staying with right now, or renting from, whatever, he is an Outlaw fan. He didn't watch the race tonight. That's how much he hates y'all guys. I'm trying to get him on the show, but I don't think he wants to. He hates High Limit with a passion. He couldn't even watch the race. He didn't want to. But for those people who are on the fence, unlike that, that's a little out there. But unlike that, the people who are on the fence and still have their favorites, it's going to be hard for them to pick on a Friday, Saturday night when the Outlaws are racing too Friday, Saturday night. Yeah, you may have some with 2 or 3 screens, the psychos that we see that don't go outside anymore at their houses with 5 screens and never leave and say hi to their neighbors. You got those people out there who listen to the TV screen that tells them what is and what isn't. But probably listening to QAnon. But at the end of the day, this was your money pot, sirs and ma'ams, or whoever's running it, or whoever's doing it all. These midweek shows, you were going to be the only ticket in town. And that's why people started doing these midweek shows, the streaming companies with these late model races and stuff. It was because they were getting all of the eyes to watch them. Everybody was watching these midweek shows. Even sprint car fans. This is kind of how the sprint cars and late model fans started seeing what each other's doing. Remember that? These midweek events. So the reason you were, in my opinion, running midweek shows to begin with was exclusivity to a night of racing. To all the fan bases. Even on these midweek races, you weren't even competing against the thousands of racers racing on Friday, Saturday night. You weren't competing against the thousands of weekly racetrack fans on Fridays and Saturday nights. You had everybody. And now, you're going up against, for some reason, somebody's smart idea. I don't know why they don't just emergency break this and move to a Tuesday. Your great idea is to go up against the World of Outlaws on a fucking Wednesday. And Brandon Shepherd in a sprint car at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's one of the most action-packed racetracks there is. I'm watching Jacksonville, sir. That's what I'm doing. Jacksonville is like a Red Dirt Raceway. It's always insane action-packed. And you're going to go up against that with 81. Good racetrack, I understand. But we've all watched a premier sprint car race already at that facility. You want everyone to tune in, make that Tuesday in a hurry. I know the Outlaws ain't going to budge. Stubbornness is why we're here to begin with. But geez, when I heard them say that Wednesday, because when Brandon Shepherd said that, it stuck in my mind. I got to remember that date. I can't miss that. And then when they said it tonight, Wednesday, May 1st, I said, what? Sorry, I don't know who else noticed this. I don't know who paid attention to this. Did no one know that y'all were competing against one another on a fucking weekday? If it's a streaming war, this is a really bad strategy. I'm just saying. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Oh my God. What's the chat saying? I'm going to have to open up the phone lines or something. I need somebody to talk to me on this. Damn, I need a Keystone. Come on, Birdie. Oh, my God. Northwest can definitely use more tracks. Okay, sorry, I'm still coming down off of what I recognize. B-Shep won't make the race. I don't give a damn if B-Shep makes the race or not. Okay? It's talking about what I want to see. Everybody's going to want to see what he does. Guarantee you that. They're going to want to know. They're going to want to watch him fumble around the racetrack, at least. Whew. For them to be going up against one another on a weekday show makes no sense to me at all, period. It makes no business sense. Maybe in the crowds in person, you'll be okay. Fine. But the origination to these midweek shows was that you were competing against nobody. And why the two biggest sprint car series in the country are going up against one another makes no damn sense to me on a Wednesday night. It just doesn't. It's uncharacteristic for the Outlaws. I know with this Jacksonville duel, it's not been uncharacteristic, but High Limit, this is what they do. It's a midweek gig or gimmick, one of the two. Well, Slide or Die 24X, the World of Outlaws will put on just as good, if not better, of a show at Jacksonville. I still feel like when I'm watching High Limit that I'm still watching an all-star event. I still feel like if you threw Macedo, Gravel, Schott, Schuhart, Sheldon, Selzy into that field tonight at the Red Dirt Raceway, everybody we're talking about right now is in fifth on back. Except maybe Corey Day. He would have figured it out to maybe crack the top 5. But I still feel like, personally, when I watch these races, I feel like I'm seeing a all-star race with some flash. And I know that Brad Sweet's in there. I don't know what. I know that Rico's in there. I know the Markses and the Larsons was there. Larsons just ain't up to snuff anymore. But regardless, I just think that the World of Outlaws are just that better of a roster with the car quality, talent, driver ability. Now I know that the Outlaws got their butt handed to them to open the year at Volusia a couple nights, but you just don't do to the Outlaws what I've seen some of these guys do to High Limit. And obviously Corey Day is High Limit. It's also kind of hard to view some of these guys as High Limit drivers. We're used to them being all-star drivers, and these are, the marquee marquee High Limit drivers are, Brad Sweet, outlaw driver, Rico, Marks, who are traditionally just outlaw guys. So it'll take some adaptation of some years with High Limit to really identify them as this regime's driver lineup. It just doesn't feel the same, but regardless. Mr. Runner-Up can't race Chaz. It's proven. He needs a dash draw to prevail. I don't know what that means. Let me go ahead and obviously we had Keith calling in, but hey, we'll take some phone calls. We'll take some phone calls just for a second. Let's see if people are afraid to call or not. Hopefully this isn't too loud. That is the number 515-298-7691. If you call in, we will answer the phone and get your reaction to what I just told you about Jacksonville. I'm still devastated ever since I heard Chase Rodman say that on camera. It makes no sense to me at all. We'll see. Does anybody want to call? We'll give it a couple more minutes. We'll just keep reading the Facebook chat. No super chats tonight, apparently. No super chats. Who wants to call in, bitch about high limit, praise high limit, praise Corey Day, talk about this Jacksonville versus 81 Speedway situation? I'm not sure. Let's hear it. Oh my. Hello, can you hear me?
What's up, Chaz?
Oh no, he's back again. Where's this racetrack that never happened?
It's happening. Everything's behind schedule.
Oh, everything's behind schedule, just like the mail-in votes, huh?
What have you been up to?
I have been talking about High Limit and the World of Outlaw. Did you watch the race tonight?
Yes, I did. That was damn good racing tonight.
How about that racetrack? You know, that's racing right there.
And Red Dirt on the red clay, that's some fucking good racing.
Now, it did rubber up there at the end. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
So it was about to go. If they didn't do the track reworks like they did, they might have had an issue on their hands. But
I agree on that one. It was a good racing tonight.
It was.
I got one thing to say to you.
Oh no.
You kept me alive listening to you in the hospital.
Okay.
I went septic twice this year.
That's not good.
Yeah, you kept me alive. I was in ICU listening to you.
What do you mean I kept you alive?
There's something I was listening to you. I mean, my doctor says I'm talking to people, and he was listening to you on my phone, listening to you when you're overseas.
So that kept you alive?
That's what the doctor said.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that powerful.
I'll call you. Hey, Tab, I'll tell you right back. My niece is calling me.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's nice, good to hear about that situation to keeping you alive. I didn't know that was happening. Hopefully he... Hello. Okay, he had to get on the other line. Well, that's a shocker. I kept him alive, apparently. Him listening to the Chaz, watching the Chaz is what kept him alive, according to his doctor. Wow. That's crazy. Number is on the screen. He will call back eventually, but he did say he had to get on the phone. Interesting. I didn't see that comment coming. It's unfortunate that he was septic, but to hear that I was the reason he stayed alive, according to an actual doctor, I would have liked some explanation there, but I'll take it. That's good to hear, you know, that you're helping people in one way or another, you know, so definitely keeps the spirits up and going here on the Chaz. No matter how bad the car is, this, that, or the other, you know, that's the kind of things that are inspirational to hear, that you're keeping people alive by being on camera and talking. That's pretty... I didn't see that coming. So, anyways, the number's on the damn screen. Y'all can call. He has hung up. He will be back, hopefully, as long as we keep talking. So, if y'all don't want him to die, you have to call in right now, because if it gets too quiet here, I'm going to have to cut the dang show off, and he could die, he just told me, basically. If I don't keep talking, he's going to die. The only way he was alive and is living is because I'm talking. So, we got to keep doing this. So, where you at? Everybody is this scared. Oh my. 9-2. 520. Who is it?
So if I just stay on the line all night, that guy dies or what?
I don't know. I feel like we're in Saul right now, where you have to do something or someone dies.
So how's that make you feel that, so what, he was going to die of natural causes or self-inflicted?
It sounded like he was saying natural causes. He said he went septic twice, but the only way he stayed alive was because of me talking. By the way, it is Spike. Yes, I recognize the voice on the second hit there.
So you're like you're kind of like a miracle worker.
That is scary. That he kind of did say that. Yes, that is scary.
Did you find some kind of fountain of youth in the Australia when you were over there?
No, why?
You look younger, and now you perform miracles through your voice. You're like Jesus.
Apparently. Oh, apparently. Hey, we still have the old Spike graphic. Oh, look, we're trying to put it on the screen. It's all messed up. Fit to screen. There we go. We got the Spike graphic on the screen. Spike has arrived.
Thank you.
So what's the situation?
Did you get deported or what happened?
What do you mean? No, I came back. You fuck. I would have been deported.
How long could you stay there for? Like
90?
A month, a year? Huh?
90 days. It would have been 90 days on April 12th. I left April 9th.
Wow. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
And you can be honest because you're the and don't be sugarcoating it because you're trying to get media passes or
I don't give a fuck about media passes right now. Fuck that.
Right. But or whatever else, just trying to get all cuddly with drivers or something. I'm just be a straight shooter because the fans of the Chaz want the old Chaz back. That's
the old
shooter.
Chaz back.
So here's not this lovey-dovey Chaz, but the old school fuck everyone Chaz. So here's the question. So what's the Australia scene difference between here and America? I feel just from what I caught, seems like the Australian drivers are just friendly, normal, hardworking men, and the ones in America here are spoiled little cunts.
That is a very good comparison. Yeah, I was talking to some of their bigger names, and all their bigger names over there, they all work 12-hour jobs or 10-hour jobs, and even the kids who have dads with money, they're like, for instance, like Jai Corbett, their family has money. They're basically halfway on a town. I'm just kidding, but they kind of do. And he's up at 5:30 and working till 6:30 every day, in the field or diesel mechanic in his instance. Or even like Callum Williamson, the guy coming over, he's, 12, 14-hour days digging ditches and running mines, So, yeah. And when I was telling it to him, I was like, dude, this guy, I'm not going to name names, this guy you think's so cool in the world of outlaws, ain't none of these sumbitches ever, I don't think, personally, punched a legitimate time clock in their lives. Do you think they have? Like when I say legitimate time clock, I mean like not that daddy owns the business and you just take 3-hour lunches and, hook up with this chick here and take a break. And I'm talking about like actual, you go to work.
It's anyone that's, we'll call it full time. I mean, that's definitely none of them have.
I would think not. Some people would say, oh, well, you can't do both. I mean, there's some pretty badasses over there that kind of do both.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I can think of just because I know his situation is Bill Baylog. He worked at like what Donnie Schatz owns, like where they repair trucks in a truck stop. Huh?
Bill Rose?
No, Bill Baylog.
No, I think I'm trying to add another name. Why don't you say Bill Rose as well?
Yeah. No, but I know Bill Baylog, I think he worked on semi-trucks or something to do with that, as many hours as he could, and then would take, work 3 15-hour days and then go on the road racing. It's like that's how you had to supplement it,
right?
Until he got a full-time ride, so that's.
Well, and Donnie works,
But no, it's definitely
obviously,
different.
but
The other thing, it looks like the Australians actually know how to wrench, right?
yeah, there is no like dumb drivers. Nobody just jumps in. I mean, some do jump in and go, but they still know what's underneath them.
Yeah. And the other difference I saw is the fan base in America are these, I would say 40 is low end, probably more like 50 to 80-year-olds in the crowd. And then there are some sprinkles of 40-somethings in there. And then obviously the 20 to 30-somethings are like 10%. Whereas the Australians, it seems like it's a lot of families, and definitely like 50 is probably old,
Well, that's because of the drunk culture of our grandstands. Over there, you can't even go in the pits if you've had a drink during racing. There's sections of, I mean, there is drinking, don't get me wrong there, but the majority of the fans there are not there for drinking. They're there for the sport.
Right.
It does seem like dirt racing in America
like
sometimes comes.
More...
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You first.
I was going to say it sometimes comes across like the fans in this country use racing, as a sport they may like, but more so a reason to go out and get drunk, similar to a club. It's just a racetrack.
Well, I would say that activities in America, especially in the Midwest, or I don't know, maybe it's in Texas too, and the Oklahomas and things like that. I don't really know. But it seems like the activities, public activities, need to involve alcohol.
Right.
So
that's
whatever
depression.
that may be.
That's because of financial depression. Coffee baristas in Australia get $35 an hour. If you go and work a regular style job, if you drive a truck, you're making like $95 an hour.
Yeah, and I would say that translates somewhat to America because there is a difference in financial there, right?
Right. So everyone is financially depressed in America most of the time. So they need alcohol to get over it. That's why alcohol is so big. It's to get people over the depressions of the life that America is built for them. But
let me ask you this. Are people in Australia wanting a 5,500 square foot house?
They do want them. And they're not hard. They are hard to get, but it's not a big deal. Like, their girls over there ain't hoes. That's a big, a lot of people think I was just over there slinging it to everything there was, but the girls over there, if they're like 25 or something, they're like wifed up, and they're decent looking. They're like wifed up, and they're like not a hoe.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, back in the day,
go ahead.
In America, you got a good career. We'll just say driving truck, like you said, and you got a ranch house. And if you start popping babies out, you had a 2-3 bedroom ranch, and you had a truck or a car, and you drove it till the fucking thing blew up.
Right.
It's just nowadays it's bigger, better, newer. Kids are in sports. I need to invest $20,000 in their sports. It's like, Jesus.
Well, bigger, better, everything that you just said, and we ain't getting paid well.
Well, I think people blow their fucking money. Like that's what I'm saying. You don't need a 5,500 square foot house. Get a ranch house. You don't need the new truck. Keep your old truck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's some of it in my. And why?
Well, I mean, I agree, but I still think the economics are way better over there. Like, they have I think they have capitalism, and we have a corporate communism, personally.
No, I think that, but also just that desire for more, rather than just being content. And I feel like there's a, and this is me just seeing your videos. It seems like the people in Australia are happier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, people over there aren't sad that they have a regular job. But they don't have no reason to be sad because they got everything they want and need with that regular job.
Yeah,
In
and
America,
I mean,
you can't do that. You know?
well, just some of the stuff I saw, like there was that big tiff about that track that got built, and then the promoter or whoever got put in charge, and right, like everyone's, and it seems like some of the people are just like, hey, it is what it is. We hope that we can get some racing going, right?
Yeah. And then you
And then
you still
others,
got politics
it's
over
almost,
there.
yeah, but then others, it's almost the American mindset where it's like, you know, I want you fucking dead. You know what I mean? Like it's almost too much. You know?
Yeah, they got that taste of being famous or a little bit more important than someone else, so they want it. They want the power.
And I think and this is just my humble opinion. You know, you've got this Outlaw and High Limit series, right? And we've got Lucas Oil and Outlaw Dirt late models, and we got even other different sanctioning bodies of late models, right?
Yeah, but it's not comparable regardless. Continue.
No, but I'm just saying as a fan, I'm sitting there going, fuck yeah, like more racing. I'm digging it.
Right, and that's why I've said more cars, too. I mean, that's to me, that's the shocker.
And I feel like in Australia, I think they'd be all giddy for that. They'd be like, hell yeah, like more racing. Sounds good to us.
Yeah.
But I feel like in America, we got this weird fight going on.
Ego.
For no reason. You know what I'm saying?
We're Americans. We're the hoorah society. We want to do it all.
Yeah. But it's a fight over nothing.
Right. You think they would have learned that?
Because I don't make
Mike
a fucking
Tyson's
dime off either of them.
Well, you don't, but they do. That's what they're fighting for.
Yeah, but none of the broke-ass fans do either.
True.
So that's what I mean. It's a funny war because it's almost like, hey, this is more entertainment. This is more sport that we like. This is cool.
Well, it's entertainment just to talk about the both sides and how they do it too.
Oh, right. But, you know, I just think that maybe in Australia, if you could pick up High Limits and Outlaws and put this scenario in Australia, they'd probably love both of them, not create a side war, right?
I don't know. There's still ego over there. They just ain't to that level.
Where's all the assholes in Australia? Who are the assholes?
They're out there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know some by name, but I don't need to talk about them. Ain't no reason to.
I don't think it's many of the drivers or fans. It seems like
no, it's in the political spectrum of the scene. Yeah, it's not the fans or the drivers. It's just like here. Who's really actually going to war or having any kind of war? You know, is it? I mean, fans are just because of the influence of the politics that they're seeing on hand. You know, they're reacting to what the leaders of both sides are doing.
Well, when you say political, who are you saying? Promoters, or are you talking about like
promoters, sponsors, tracks? You know, all the people, the politicking. Who's going where? So why are they going there? Who's controlling this?
So, like promoters like Shane Stewart, sponsors like Finlay Farms,
right? Justin Marks, Kubota.
Guys that kind of are saying, you know, giving opinions.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Yeah, the politics.
I see what you mean. Hey, just out of curiosity, and maybe this will help clear things up. When you contact a track, do they ever give you any clarity on what they consider to be media?
That is a great question. I mean, sometimes they will, but most of the time they don't. And I had that question. Somebody Holbrook's Janet Holbrook commented on my video on Facebook and said, "Oh, I ran a track, and you know, media is, you know, pictures and videos kind of, you know, statement." And you know, your content only really benefits you. And it's like, I don't know how that, there's like, it's, or something around promotion and hype is what's needed. And it's like, okay, well, that's what I do. So it's like I cover pre, during, and post coverage, you know, so I don't understand it. It's not really what you do, it's who you are. Back to the politics. They're just picking people.
You're right. So if you were the local newspaper, they'd let you in. If you were the local radio station or newspaper, they let you in.
Right. Tonight, or even guys who do similar to me, you know, like Always Race Day. You know, he ain't taking pictures or videos. He's interviewing drivers. He's in every show.
Yeah, and what's interesting about him is he has opinionated roundtable talks with him and his friends and other reporters or whatever they are, and Gio Scelzi's show is on there and such. So if they don't like your opinion, those guys all have opinions, right?
Yeah, well, it's just my opinion gets traction. That's the big difference.
But some could also say that you have an opinion, and maybe it's an opinion that not the majority have.
But they're saying
we want someone that's gonna, right? But they might say, well, we want someone that's gonna have that's going to promote and advance the sport. Well, how many guys now have you gotten full-time rides for?
Right. They don't care about
I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm just saying, like, you put out a highlight video of these guys. You said, hey, JJ Hickle's the real thing. Hey, Ryan Timms is the real thing. Devin Borden's the real thing. I don't know who else. I think you maybe even highlighted Justin Sanders at one point.
Callum Williamson, yeah. Justin Sanders, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and, you know, those guys, next thing you know, oh, look, they're, you know, quite a few of them are running full-time. You know, so that sounds like you're getting guys jobs, you know.
That don't matter for the egotistical track promoters or their series directors. And that's why I say it goes back to the politics and buddy system, really. You know, some of these guys don't approve my credentials. Oh, he's the guy who doesn't suck Larson dick, basically.
Yeah. And it was only because you just made notice that the Sunday night show had like a couple hundred people at it.
Right, and that there was a problem with that. How are you even thinking you're going to compete or rise against or make sprint car racing big? Like Brad Sweet's kind of deal is, you know, we're going to take it we believe it could be the next level when you're 40 minutes away from 7 million people and can't get 2,000 of them.
Yeah, well, what's interesting to me is there's been situations like Eldora. They had to run an event on a Sunday afternoon because of rain, right?
Right.
And there was only like a few hundred people there.
But we know why in that scenario.
Well, right. But the fans, I mean, watching at home on Flow or Dirt Vision or whatever the hell it was on, we're commenting. They're like, damn, there's not many people at that.
Right.
And people are like, yeah, shit. You know, it's just you're making an observation.
That's illegal, apparently.
Right. And I mean, that's no insult on Eldora or the sanctioning bodies or anyone involved. I mean,
well, and I see it as a bigger sport situation, you know, a relevance issue, and living in Larson and, well, Trickle Shadows for 30 years has played a big part in that. You know, and you got Larson's little sponsor in there who supports the issue, in my opinion. And I pointed out they don't like that. So the buddy system, obviously, we think maybe Shane Stewart might be buddies with Kyle. Maybe he drove for him. You know, you think maybe Finley is. You know, so it's really not that I'm saying anything wrong. It's the political buddy system of the racing world that basically operates it. That's playing the part in that comment.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is we all know that Kyle Larson salary every year is in the multi-millions. And we know that Flow has invested money in this series. And they have sponsorships, etc. And so let's just say openly that probably Kyle, Flo, whoever else has invested has some expendable income on this project. And we'll just say they've got a lot more money than we do. And it's funny because I remember when the XR series was running and they would draw like 100 or 200 fans. And people would call it out and be like, wow, XR series only has like a couple hundred fans on a Wednesday night.
Right.
And they're just like, fuck it. That guy's got money. He don't care. He's obviously, he's making money somehow. Everyone just justified it and it wasn't a big deal. But like Kyle Larson could lose millions of dollars on this project this year. And it probably would not be any worse than you or I losing a few $1,000s on a project in comparison.
Right, it'd be sports cards.
Yeah, right. It's just a failed business venture. Fuck it. But, like, for some reason, how dare you mention that they had 200 people? When on the XR side, they're like, they had 200 people. Who gives a shit? That guy's got money. Fuck him.
Right. It's a very interesting comparison. And it's all because it's Larson's
Kyle
baby.
Larson's got money. Fuck him. Right?
It's
like, why
Larson,
can't we say the same thing?
It's Larson, though. You heard the guy rolling the dice. He's a big Larson fan, but he cheers for the smaller teams.
Who is that?
The guy who won 3,500 tonight with Corey Day.
No, I know, but who's the smaller team in this day?
I don't know. You tell, but this is how people think, even up into the sponsored levels and the buddy system levels. These are gods to them. You do not talk badly about their Jesus or anything he's involved in. It's blasphemy.
There's a strange fan base growing in America. It's these 20, 30-somethings that really enjoy being offended.
It's true. And these are grown adults.
And
it's not like Finley's young.
Not in the late model world, thank God.
Well, yeah. The late model world seems okay. They just can't keep their tires from the dope shop, apparently, or put the right ones on or whatever.
But, hey, it's Mafia, man. They pushed back, and the other Mafia had a bend, so I like that.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Bobby Pierce was like, I'll call a fucking lab and we'll sue your ass.
Oh, is that what happened?
Well, they wanted to do their own testing, and they said, we want to see your panels. We want to see these panels that you're using to, meaning like a panel of
like a drug test, doping. The 5 panels.
Yeah. I want to see what panel testing you're doing. And they're like, you know what? We're just gonna we'll let you start racing tomorrow. Everything's good.
Is that really what happened, Spike? How do you know this?
I got insiders, buddy.
You got insiders. So your insiders told you that Bobby Pierce basically threatened to sue Blue Ridge.
Listen, news is in the racing world is all a puzzle.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
And it ain't a 1,000-piece puzzle where I got to break out the card table either. It's probably a 5 or 10-piecer that I can just lay on the carpet and do in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
You get a little bit of news on Sunday, a little bit of news on Monday. The rest of the week goes in each day, and you get little puzzle pieces, and then you put them together, and then you see the whole picture.
So it's a lot of stick here, stick there, make fire yourself. So you got a bunch of sticks,
yeah,
and you put them together and made this idea that you don't know for sure, but you see too many sticks that lead to this fire that says Bobby Pierce is going to sue Blue Ridge.
There was a lot of innuendo. There's a certain broadcast that is on YouTube daily that says a lot of cryptic messages that you have to. He's He's like Q. Remember Q?
Yes.
The QAnon?
So you're telling me that Dirt Tracker is using coded messages?
Well, put it this way. If I know the whole story and I'm trying to say it to you right now and I'm trying to not give you the whole facts, but I'm going to kind of give you a little hint, right? You know, that's what he kind of does.
So you're full on then. He's like the QAnon of dirt.
Well, when there was the ASCS stuff like a week or two before the sale, he said, he's like, you know, in the world of racing, it would be quite interesting if a national racing group bought them.
Okay.
Or are they just going to go under?
Well, yeah,
You know,
everybody was saying World Racing Group was going to buy it. That's not necessarily like coded messages.
Well,
when you
saying,
code messages, you like say words that don't kind of make sense, but don't, and you like drop L's and move this. I mean,
well, he basically said World Racing Group, but he chopped up the words enough so that, you know, if you're listening, you get the hint.
Okay.
Because he has to protect his broadcasting integrity, because he can't just come out and say, hey, rumors are, it hasn't been finalized, but rumors are World Racing Group is going to buy the ASCS.
Okay.
I mean, if he did that, he'd be fucking burned alive. So, like, he has to watch his ass. So
you went to a new level with Dirt Tracker. You figured it out.
Yeah, so, like, he's been talking, you know, at one point he mentioned a story where Bobby Pierce is contesting it and has contacted an alternative lab.
Okay.
And on one of the other shows, they mentioned that Bobby Pierce and others were requesting the lab that WRG used, what their panel testing is.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, a day or two later, it's, well, your suspension's lifted and come on back. Let's have some fun.
How does that lead to Bobby Pierce threatening to sue Blue Ridge? Because what I was told is that sponsors connected to Bobby Pierce and track promoters who were on Bobby Pierce's side sided with him and said, pull this show, pull this shit. You're not getting any of this stuff. If this is the truth, fuck you. And that's how it moved.
I didn't say he was going to sue them. See, using the word sue means I'm going to take you to court. No. Well, a lot of times it's just, we're going to have our attorneys file some paperwork so this thing can be handled on a legal basis.
I thought it was the political buddy system of tracks threatening to drop outlaw dates and sponsors, you know, threatening to pull this and pull that. I thought it was as simple as that. You're saying it's not.
There's both.
Okay.
Because think about it. You're going to have emotional responses such as, well, if they're going to do that, fuck them, we're pulling our money. But then that still doesn't help the driver if he knows that anytime he wins, he could lose his ass and get suspended again.
But the tire wizards are real, Spike.
Well, I mean, I'm curious about it. I mean, I would love to read the book on the testing and what they're testing for and I also want to know what a track is prepped with and what's being put in the dirt and things like that.
Yeah, but that was a ridiculous claim by Bubba the Love Sponge and them. That's just ridiculous.
No, not necessarily, because a lot of tracks. If it was
something that was put in the track, everybody's tires would have went bad. Everyone's, not just one, because all the cars are on the track, Spike.
But they're not testing all of them. That's what I'm saying.
All the ones tested would have failed if it was something in the track.
But were the ones that failed the only 3 they tested?
No. They tested over 100 samples.
Okay. No, and that's what I mean. Like, I would love to know more about all this because I don't know. But it got to the point where I think they were going to contest it because it's going to cost him a championship run. I mean, that's another $300,000 to win the championship. You know,
it definitely was the best publicity they've ever had here recently. I wonder if it was all just a game to begin with. Are they playing WWE?
No, that's not a. It's not a game that you want to. Because it still fucked Bobby Pierce out of points. So,
like, is this high limit and World of Outlaw deal actually controlled from a source above that is going to become the NFL, and there will be here in the future World of Outlaw versus high limit events in co-sanctioned style like AFC, NFC? Is that coming?
Well, they're going to have that inadvertently through Huset's and Eldora and Knoxville.
Right, but the Outlaws don't get to face off really against high limit because there's no high limit races that the Outlaws need to go to. Whereas there's plenty of World Outlaw races that the high limit guys need to go to.
Well, but it still is kind of like an Eldora, and, you know, granted you have their officials there at Huset's, Eldora, and Knoxville, but it kind of is an even playing ground to some degree.
Right.
And that's where the fan base is going to feel better about it and say, well, this is the even playing field and this is truly the battle.
But what if you had like a match race once a month? Although I guess you almost do. I mean, there in June, you're going to have Huset's. Then July, you'll have Eldora. In August, you'll have Knoxville.
Yeah, every month. Every month, buddy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the true test. I mean, the stuff in Florida don't mean shit. That's preseason football to me.
Right.
You know, I want to see mid-season when we're rolling. Let's see what's up then.
Right.
But the high limit fan base is kind of weird. They're very emo.
What do you mean?
They're very sensitive.
Right, like if you talk bad about them, they lose it. It's a bunch of NASCAR fans too.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. Are they NASCAR fans? Like,
they're
did you see the one where
Larsonites.
Jacob Allen talked smack about Gio and said, "Hey, you gonna help me fix my car?" And then Gio's like, "Well, thanks for not tagging me in your posts while you're talking shit on me." And then, you know, haha, buddy, kind of thing. And then
yeah, Gio
all of a
said,
sudden,
I thought you wanted to go to the trailer early, you know, so you don't get burnt out this year. All that, yeah.
Yeah, right. He's like, well, maybe, you know, hopefully you don't quit and need, you know, time to cry and cuddle. And then all of a sudden, all of the Jacob Allen fans are like, you know, not even a ribbing. You know, it wasn't like, well, Gio, wait till he sees you on the track again. You know, it wasn't like that. It was like, you know, some people suffer from mental health. The fuck are you talking about? Like, Jacob Allen's a hero to us because I was ready to, you know, this, and this, and that, and down the bottle of pills, and what the fuck? Who are you people?
That sounds like a mental issue. To be proud of that.
Well, and why are you all the fan base?
Yeah.
And what's with the Kendra?
What do you mean with the Kendra?
I mean, what is up with that? I mean, I would have fired her ass immediately.
What do you mean?
Why are you hijacking a professional national touring sprint car series and posting your bullshit?
You're talking about the email?
Yes.
The 33,000 on the BlackBerry?
What the hell is the 33,000 on a BlackBerry?
Never mind. That's an email scandal, but it's a joke.
Oh. Well, I'm just saying, like, the Chaz. Okay, let's talk about the Chaz for a second.
Yeah, if I got on here and cried every time somebody said something bad to me.
How many hate mails have you gotten?
It's mainly messages and texts and phone calls and comments, but
yeah, how many death threats or at least I'm going to harm you threats?
oh, plenty.
Yeah. So so she stokes the fire constantly, poking the bear, trying to create this fake war.
What?
Right?
What do you know? What do you mean?
She posts on her social media and then on the High Limits in the beginning of the, just cocking off. Trying to create this little rivalry. She's like the little cheerleader next to the football player. Well, none of those guys are football players, but
So you're saying
she's the girl behind the guy saying, "Yeah, fuck you."
so? I just pictured that girl, but
yeah, and then eventually you're like, "Dude, shut your chick up!" Like, what the fuck? Why is she involved?
Why would you say that? Kendra's pretty good.
Well, it's like she ain't involved with this, right? Like, shut up.
I think
Like,
she
tell
does
her,
a lot.
wash your socks or something.
I think she does a
So
lot.
the moral of the story is, her email is listed on the High Limit website, and it says on there, social media and marketing guru, director, goddess, whatever. And I guarantee, I don't even know who this guy was, and he might not even be real.
He was probably drunk. Fuck this bitch or something.
Yeah, so you're sitting around the campfire with your buddies, and you're like, hey, God, do you see what the dumb shit they're posting on the High Limits? What's up with them? And then the guy goes, that's that marketing chick. Really? Yeah, look, there's her email. Well, fuck it, I'm going to email you. Hey, Kendra, you're a fucking hoe.
Yeah.
All the buddies are like, you didn't really send that. Yeah, I did. Look at
Shut the fuck up. That's not
and it
funny.
turns into Women's Month. And let me list off all the women in sprint car racing that have made a difference. And then Jeremy Elliott, trying to get his fat ass laid, has to make a fucking 90 for 90.
Wow.
This is the problem. Sorry, Jeremy Elliott, you still ain't going to get laid.
Oh, that's not right. That's not right. Jeremy's doing
And
a
then all
great
the
job
girls
with
are
90 and
chiming in.
90s.
Yeah. That alarm, fuck that alarm.
He's probably salivating.
I seriously, like, that, I want to just punch a wall every time I hear that alarm. That's just too much in the morning.
Oh,
Because see,
my.
it's earlier where I'm at. It ain't 9 o'clock where I'm at. So
Right. It's 8.
So I'm just like, oh my God, dude, your damn alarm clock. Because I got my headphones on when I'm listening to it. So I'm just like, oh my God. But no, it was blown out of proportion for her own glory. And I think that the fan base is drawn to her emo bullshit, her social justice, equality. She's a DEI hire. And I think that when it's all said and done, she doesn't know how to promote and market, and they're going to lose their ass this year.
I don't know. How can you say that? I thought Brad Sweet was going to change the world.
Is he the marketing and promotions, and is he the director
of
that?
Kendra talks about it really well. I mean, that Sprint Million video, I thought she was the best talker in the whole thing.
So what? Women usually can talk. That's what they all do, is they talk.
Oh, God.
I mean, wow, a woman can talk. Fucking A. Make her president.
Kamala.
Right? Well, she's the Kamala of dirt track racing.
I didn't say
when
that.
It's all said and done, her credentials are overinflated, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
But
who knew you were about to go on a Kendra Jacobs fuck you spree?
Well, it's not that. It's the point of the story is people are like, how dare you mention that there's only 200 people. And even tonight, like I think there probably wasn't 2,000 there.
It was sold out. I don't know how much it could hold, but it was sold out.
They had like 2 wooden grandstands. So, they had it where you could bring your truck and park and tailgate as well. So I figured, okay, if you had 2,000 fans at $40, it's an $80,000 gate. You're going to have to split some of that with the promoter, or, the track owner. You're going to, you got to pay out the boys. You got to give out the tow money. Did you make a few bucks? Possibly. But what I'm saying is when you're going on the road in Nowheresville, what kind of promotions are being done? You know, that's what I mean is the 200 people on a Sunday night just a one-off failure, or was there really no promotion done?
I mean, if RPM, well, that's the deal. RPM is not in Nowheresville. You know, it's 30 minutes from downtown Dallas.
Sure.
That's not Nowheresville. Red Dirt, some of these other fucking places. I know what you're saying. Yes, you know.
All right. Well, so even still, so if I'm running, what is that, Dallas, Fort Worth area you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay. You go on the social media and just do direct marketing to everyone that likes World of Outlaws, dirt track racing, high limits,
rodeo,
NASCAR, wherever the hell. Do targeted marketing, and you can probably spend about $10 a day for 4 weeks and have them all reached.
You would think.
But what's her credentials? Has she ever worked in the real world?
She used to work for Spire.
What the fuck is Spire?
Used to be a motorsports management group. They used to manage Knoxville.
Okay, and what is Knoxville?
A racetrack.
Yeah, but what's the basis of managing Knoxville?
Wait for the Nationals every year.
Yeah, so you got to think about it. Knoxville is a plug and play business. It's mailing out renewals, sending out emails, making sure everyone renews their tickets. If they don't, relist them, and contact all the sponsors that you had in past years and see if they want to renew their sponsorship for future year.
You're saying that even if somebody runs Knoxville Raceway, they're not ready to go out into the woods and hunt.
You could get probably 2 to 4 retired grandmas in Knoxville to handle the Knoxville ticketing and renewals.
Wow.
That's not you're not a national touring sprint car series promoter if you run Knoxville.
I don't know her credentials outside. I know that's when I met her. She's Cody Jacobs' sister. You know Cody from Gravel's team?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean shit.
Well, I mean, she's got racing in her blood. She's been around it her whole life. I mean,
what the fuck does that mean?
I mean, she's not ignorant to the sport like some of these other guys. She's not a coil.
You think she's a hoe?
I didn't say a hoe. What are you talking about, Spike?
Well, I'm just saying, you think she's been dicked down in the pits a lot?
I would say no.
In
I actually like
days?
Kendra. I like Kendra Jacobs.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean you don't have to like her if she's been a hoe.
I don't think so. Cody's cousin. I was wrong. I thought it was sister, but you never know. There's so many Jacobs.
This is kind of a sister-cousin type thing?
I am not commenting on that topic.
You love the family lineages, by the way.
No,
you
I
love
don't.
that.
No, I don't. But
I'm referencing
it.
It's like,
I'm referencing it because you're trying to make
so-and-so.
Kendra Jacobs sound like a feminist crybaby, doesn't know what she's doing and over her head, only in the position where she's at right now because she's a woman type person.
I just said she overinflated her credentials, and Kyle and Brad are desperate.
How is that
and I
possible?
think she's
Nope.
I think she's good at the mind games.
Oh, wow. Strong words from a
she
strong
knows how
man.
to sell herself on that position, and they bought it.
Well, then what about high limit at TMS that sold out? Then she should get all. Where's, RPM bombed, but these other ones haven't bombed.
Well, the dirt track at Texas is right across the street from NASCAR, where they just are running all weekend.
This is true.
I mean, what are they at? What's that Texas Motor Speedway? 30, 40, 50 grand
I don't know.
for NASCAR? I mean, if you can get 10% of them to just wander their ass over to the sprint car race, I mean, that's not that impressive to me.
Okay.
Did you see the sprint car race that was there like the week before? They had like 25 people. It was fascinating.
Right. About
Who
as
promoted
many?
that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Who didn't promote that is the real question.
It wasn't Kendra Jacobs because it would have been full. I do not support your comments on Kendra Jacobs or Jeremy Elliott.
What? What you like?
I
both
said
of them?
I do.
You did-
Yes, I like. I mean, Jeremy Elliott can be interesting, but I definitely
don't
like
hate
him more than you.
He might have a spare room for you.
I definitely like him more than
Can't
you.
hate on him.
This is not about spare rooms.
Kendra's too skinny for you too.
I didn't even make those types of comments.
Hey, how was the scene in Australia? What did you do there? Did you fornicate?
I can't honestly answer that.
Why not? They're in a different time zone. They're asleep. They're not listening.
You'd be surprised. Actually, I don't know what time it is over there. That's bad. I've been
Well,
having.
just
I've had it
wonder-
on my phone just to try to see how far off I am. It's 1 p.m. over there. Actually,
Did you have a girl you hung with or what?
there were several people. Spike. I was in a different area
People like
every
men
other
and
week.
women?
I was only in so many
Right,
areas
but-
there for so long.
Were you like a rock star or what?
Some areas it felt that way. Some areas it didn't. I mean, but it was all. Even in some ways, when in areas I didn't, it ended up being good.
Well, that's good.
All you had to do is just go to the local pub or bar or whatever and grab a beer and start talking. I'm pretty good at that.
Right.
So
Did
I mean,
you they gonna come over to Knoxville or what?
there's a few people in discussions to do that. Yeah,
Hey, honeys or what?
there's a few people in discussions.
Okay. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. The only problem is
No, that's good.
is that they stopped the whole dual citizenship. So there's all this shit that you have to go through to actually get it, and it's like fuck. It used to be
Well, you
you
ain't
just
gonna marry
wife
the
up
bitch.
and then you're half in.
You ain't gonna marry the bitch though.
Completely open.
Open marriage or what? Like, what
I
if
don't
she
know.
lives there and you live here, and then that allows you both to go back and forth for racing?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's perfect.
Exactly.
Even if you don't like her, it's still a good deal.
Exactly.
You gotta think about the big picture here.
Now I'm there's some potentiality.
I like that. Any on the home side here in the USA,
Oh yeah, big time.
in the race world, or
I mean, once you go to I don't know what it is. Once you go to Australia, I guess the women here want what they missed or didn't have or whatever. I don't know. But yeah,
that Nicole, right?
No,
Nicole?
not Nicole. You fuck. No, not Nicole. Jeez.
Hey, language.
No,
Why you f-bomb me because of Nicole?
because it's just not right. But anyway, no, there's a lot. There's a decent amount. It's funny though. God's like, you're not doing it, you fuckhead, and blew my car up when I get here. So,
Well, that's because you parked it over in Nebraska, and they probably stripped the parts off it.
no, it's not happened.
That guy that you parked it at, he probably used some of it for his sprint car.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't have worked out well.
What happened to your car?
Transmission seal. I think I think that's the problem. It's an I think situation. It's not even a fully understood scenario. But something
It's just
up
parts,
with
though.
huh? It is just parts,
it was
yes.
just parts.
It is just parts,
Damn.
but then you have to change it. So you
No,
have to,
it was just parts though for the whole time. It didn't. It just seized up or what?
I don't know. I do remember hearing like a clunk on the way back, and I thought it hit something in the road, but I didn't see anything in the road, and potentially that's when that seal or whatever popped, which is between the transmission and the motor. So it's not an easy fix if they're, and it's almost worth more than the car. So,
Huh. Well, that sucks.
yeah. So yeah, I have all these
Start a
things lined up.
GoFundMe.
I was all no. You're the second person to do that. I just feel like that is, I already get shit on because I put, links in the descriptions to, support the show, and I already get shit for that. I can only imagine the shit I would get if I opened a GoFundMe.
The fuck? Rico the midget auctions off his fucking underwear. Oh, here's a pair of my used, head sock.
Oh God.
$100 an entry for 1,000 entries. Spin the wheel. Let's do it. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but it ain't a GoFundMe. A GoFundMe is give me this for nothing. At least he's selling a head sock.
Hey, did you know that Rico sells jammies?
I didn't know this. No.
Would you wear Rico jammies?
No.
Start a GoFundMe. And if he reaches a certain amount, you will.
Golly. You're the second person to say
honestly, that. Huh?
You're the second person to say that on the GoFundMe deal. Today.
Well, it's not a bad idea. I mean,
it is.
How many followers, disciples of the Chaz do you have? Realistically, 500, 1,000?
Something, I don't know. Something like that, maybe.
So 500?
Maybe. I don't know.
So if you got all those cheap sons of bitches to just throw in an average of $10, you'd have $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great, but it's the patheticness of accepting that.
The fuck? Who cares?
I don't know. I've kind of always tried to dig myself out of my own fuck ups. So
it ain't a fuck up.
Well, true.
Call Nicole.
Can't believe you just said that. All right, are you done? It's midnight. No one's up.
Yeah, you better get that guy on the phone so he doesn't die, dude.
Dude, that was crazy. I can't believe I have that much responsibility.
What if he died?
That is your fault.
So he went septic.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
Well, enjoy that phone call.
It will be an interesting phone call.
All right, well, good luck, and I'll see you, at Knoxville in 2 weeks?
Oh, is it you're actually going to go?
I was at Peevely, you prick.
I didn't see you. Where were you?
I was all over the place.
I guess
I was sitting on the front stretch, and then I walked over in the pits, and on night 2, were you there night 1 or just night 2? All right, so night 2, I was on the front stretch. Then I went into the pits. I was on the front stretch for qualifying. Went in the pits and watched the heats from the grandstands in the pits. Then I went in the infield to look at that big drain that they got, and that was during the dash when they pulled the numbers. Then I walked over and sat on the front stretch for the mod feature, because I stood on the hill to watch the mod heat. Then I went and watched the mod feature in the front stretch and the B and the A.
Yeah, I was in turn 3 and on the hill pretty much all night.
Yeah, I was there too. You probably were too cool. You probably were with some honey.
Yeah. Fresh off the block.
I was just kidding. No, I was there, but dude, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah. Saturday it was packed.
I mean, not as packed as a high limit race, but
This is
packed
true.
nonetheless. But no, a couple weeks is Knoxville. If the weather isn't shit, I'll probably go to it.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right.
Peace out.
Thanks for calling in.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Oh my God. I can't. We made it through, ladies and gentlemen. We made it through. The phone call with Spike. I did not know that was coming. Hold on, let's see what the chat's doing. Oh my God. What is this? Listening to this thing bore has changed my mind on you being considered media, Chaz. I'm siding with the sanctioning bodies now. Oh God. I denied the Kendra comments and the Jeremy Elliott comments. Did not completely at all agree. Did not even really agree at all. And tried to combat, but Spike can be funny with his cruelty sometimes. So, anyways, I guess that's going to do it for the show. It is past midnight. We are just at the hour 40-minute mark. Thanks for tuning in. I feel like the beginning of the show was very interesting, but then once we opened the phone line shit happened. So, anyways, like the video, comment below, share it around. As always, be sure to subscribe. And yeah, links in the description. Join the support. I do not think I'm going to be starting a GoFundMe. Hell to the no. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next time.
We can ride high, we can ride low, we can ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best, or we can be the worst. We can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride.